How to define your target audience. I want to talk to you today about why it's so crucial to define your target audience for your business, even if you feel like you have more than one. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly who your ideal audience is and be able to tailor your messaging exactly to them so that you'll draw them in and stop wasting time, either not drawing in customers at all or drawing in the wrong people. We'll get crystal clear on your audience so that your marketing efforts hit the mark every time. The first thing I want to talk to you about is what I call the niche down debate. When people start talking about target audience, everyone tells them they need to niche down, they need to niche down, they need to niche down. I don't know about you, but I know a lot of multi-passionate entrepreneurs who honestly feel like that's leaving a part of them behind. They've said things to me like, I just can't do that. All of these are a part of who I am. I love this part of my business and I love this part of my business. The problem is they feel like those two parts are talking to two different audiences. I want to talk about a new way of thinking about our ideal audience that brings those together into one ideal client profile. I want to tell you a story today about a client of mine who's a health coach. She helps people find out why their food allergies are affecting their life, the core cause of them, and helps them get rid of them. So when we first started talking about this ideal client profile, she's had clients that are 5 and she's had clients that are 75. She's had clients that are, the 5-year-old was a little boy, the 75-year-old was a woman. So she was really struggling, right, to come into a place where she could create an ideal client profile. It was basically anyone with allergies. Here we are. If you're targeting everyone, you're targeting no one. Allergies really wasn't enough to narrow it down. So then people would tell her, just niche down. Just choose the 75-year-old to talk to, or just choose whether you're going to help kids or not. And she didn't want to do that. She knew most of her clients, the majority, landed in that upper age range. But in her soul, she did not want to leave the kids behind because she knew that's where she had the most impact for their entire lives, right? Catch it early and eliminate that early. So she didn't want to let go of either one. So she and I worked through my composite client process to create an ideal client profile that was able to call out to both of those people. We were able to do that by finding the person in the middle, right? The mother who's taking care of the 5-year-old with allergies and her own mother with allergies as well. So we created an ideal client profile that fit all of the things that she wanted to do. That's a quick story, and I want to show you exactly how you can do the same thing for what you offer. I'm a proponent of creating your ideal audience as an audience of one. Right? One person who's multifaceted, who has many different relationships, that is somebody who can use everything that you have to offer. The first step in implementing my composite client process for creating your ideal client profile is to figure out the exact problem your business solves and list all the offers you have that solve those problems. Next, I want you to look at that list of offers and make sure they're the ones you're going to keep, right? We're going to narrow in on making sure that this ideal client profile can use everything that you offer. So we need to list everything that you offer. Step 2 is looking at your current customers and clients and looking for patterns. We're looking for the thread that connects them all. Same with your offers. When we look at those, we're looking for the thread that brings them all together. What is the thing they have in common? That's the question you want to ask yourself. And make a list, right? What are the things that my clients have in common? What are the things my customers have in common? What are the things my offers have in common? You might be surprised to find that things that seem very different from each other have a common thread. When looking at that common thread, ask yourself, what problems do they share? What patterns do I see? What keeps happening over and over again? Do they say the same thing, even about different offers? Right? There is a thread there. We just have to find it. Next, we're going to create a rough draft of the person who can use all of these offers. So to get a visual about what this looks like, I want you to think about the Truman Show with Jim Carrey. There's a point in that show where he's trying to remember the woman's face. And he's taking the magazine and tearing it apart and piecing her face together from all the different pieces. That's the idea behind Composite Client. I'm going to take who needs this offer here and make that part of the profile. I'm going to take who needs this offer over here and make that part of the profile. So we're taking all the pieces and bringing them together in one ideal client profile. Once you have your composite client, your unified client, your ideal client profile created, then we need to start testing the messaging around it. We want to use the words that they use to pull them in, right? Remember, the point of our messaging is to get them to raise their hand and say, that's me. They have to identify with one piece in order to do that. We think they have to be exactly this person, but they have to just have a piece of it, which is why we can create the composite client. As we're testing our messaging, we're going to tweak it a little bit at a time and see if we get more traction, right? More people raising their hands and saying, yes, that's me. I need what you have. And then finally, I want to say, let's stay consistent with your ideal audience for at least a period of time. So many entrepreneurs I know will try something for a month and be like, oh, that didn't work. I'm going to move on to the next thing, right? We need to give it a little more time and be consistent with it and give it some time before we give up on it. After you've created your ideal client profile, I want you to actually make it a person. This is more to help you than it is about any of your clients or customers. Remember I said that your ideal client is more about who you're talking to than about who you actually attract, right? They only have to identify with one little piece, but the person that you're talking to is the same every single time. So I always encourage my clients to give them a name, make them an actual person. If we go back to the story at the beginning about the health coach who was struggling to define her ideal client, we settled on, a 45-year-old woman who is a mother of a 10-year-old and is also taking care of elderly parents, and she is working, and all of this food allergy stuff was completely overwhelming because it took so much energy on top of everything else that she was doing. Right? And so now, as you can see, as we start talking about this person and all the things in her life, we can talk about running the 10-year-old to sports. We can talk about her taking care of her mother and how the allergies just compound all of those problems. And if she didn't have to worry about who was allergic to what all the time, right, then she would have more space in her life. And so it created a way for us to talk to her specifically about allergies. And if the 75-year-old hears that message, she's not going to think, oh, I'm not taking care of my mother. She's going to think, oh, that's me, right? Or she's going to think, oh, that's my grandson. So again, it's about who you're talking to, not necessarily about who actually comes to you as a client. I have helped so many of my clients get really clear on this ideal client profile, which makes their messaging really clear and their revenue go up. There is a composite client workshop in the Multi-Passionate Entrepreneurs Playbook that I'm linking to down below. So go ahead and check that out now because I know it'll help.